Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna. Welcome everybody. Seeking all the Vaishnava's blessings. I'm just going to start the section. It's an important, very nice section actually. Looks like very easy, but I don't have much realization about this particular topic. I'll just try to repeat the words of the previous acharyas, and please bless me so that right word comes right time, right mood. And Hare Krishna. Welcome everybody to this section. And we are in, let me start that PowerPoint. My all connection has gone actually. Hope is visible to everybody.
Yes, Prabhu.
Connection class okay, I'll come. Hare Krishna. Okay. Sorry, Hare Krishna. So we've gone through the chapters. I just put the chapter headings, that's all. The story of King Vena, how the King Vena was born by Anga, and what are the circumstances. We all studied this one. And King Prathu, the appearance and coronations. And 16th chapter is praise of the King Prathu by professional reciters. They glorify the Prathu Maharaj. And Prathu Maharaj becomes angry at the earth. Now earth was not cooperating, and he was very angry with the earth. And we have seen a lot of incidents, what has exactly happened. Then Artha was very pleased with the Prathu Maharaj, and Prathu Maharaj also blessed her. And Prathu Maharaj milked the earth, the planet. Chapter number 19, the King Prathu 100 or sacrifices he did. And we know what are the incidents happened. He was Indra came and he stolen the horses. Ultimately, it was taken back, and there is a truce taken place between Indra and Prathu Maharaj. And Lord Vishnu's appearance in the sacrificial arena, that is studied in chapter number 20. And 21, instruction of the Maharaj Prathu. Maharaj Prathu is given wonderful instruction to all his citizens. And Prathu Maharaj meeting in the 4 Kumaras, and how he has taken nice instruction from the 4 Kumaras. And it's a wonderful section we have seen the last class. Now today's class, it is talking about Maharaj Prathu going back to home. It's a very nice chapters. And you can see the full of instructions by Srila Prabhupada. What is the one's duty once leaving the body, and how we can perfectly leave the body, and what is the ultimate achievement of the persons has been very nicely described in this chapter. And ultimately, the crux is the pure devotional service. The whole chapter is this. Srila Prabhupada many times mentioned, he has given the importance of the holy name, importance of the Sankirtana movement, and what is the mood of the devotees. And ultimately, what is the ultimate thing helping the devotees to come leave the body and going back to the Godhead? And after all, whole ISKCON's purpose is going back to the Godhead. So this chapter is in that angle. It's a very, very important chapter, and a lot of instructions are there, a lot of realizations, and we have connected certain practical application also in these chapters. 1 minute. So here the chapter is divided mainly the sloka number 1 to 18. It is Prathu Maharaj taken Vanaprastha life, and he and his wife Archie, they goes to the forest and they go to severe austerities, and they follow the all Ashtanga yoga system. And it's nicely clarified Srila Prabhupada also, the relevance of the current situation. And sloka number 19 to 22, Archie performs Prathu's final rites and enters the flames. And it's nicely explained how the chaste wife acts It's how she attained the ultimate perfection by serving her husband. That was explained in 1922. And 22 to 30, demigod's wife praise Archie. Demigod's wife, they also glorify Archie Devi. And it's a lot of things to learn in this process. And 31 to 39, Palashruti. And it's one of the very unique feature actually. And it's total dedicated 9 slokas are there, exclusive for Palashruti. You don't find like that 9 slokas in other chapters. Go to sloka number 1. Here, Maharaja sloka number 1 talks about the Maharaja Pratu was one of the Sakya Vesha incarnation of Supreme Person Godhead. And such he appeared on the surface of the earth to execute orders of the Supreme. So he has been exemplary in the government administration, and now he has become exemplary in retirement. He went to the forest with his wife. It is significant in this connection that it is said that Maharaja Pratu retired alone, and at the same time he took wife with him. In order to set example in always, he also underwent severe austerity in the Tapovana. In the olden days, they used to go for Tapovana. This is called something called Tapovan. There is a place where they used to go and meditate. And Pratu Maharaj selected that option actually to go to Tapovan, and he's taking retirement. This is a one thing, everybody, all the devotees, it's very, very important actually. And you can see many chapters also this one, especially we see how the Dhritarashtra was chastised by Vidura because he did not want to retire. He wanted to enjoy permanently. And some other chapters you can see how the devotees they taken very nicely retirement. How the bishop, how the Parishit Maharaj he took very nicely retirement. And other devotees, Pandavas, they retired very timely. They did not wait, stick on to their positions. So this is one should learn actually. That means the personal implication is the one should not simply remain in the home until the time of death, but should separate from the family life at that timely moment and prepare himself to go back to the Godhead. So the sloka number, it's a combined sloka actually, 1 to 3. The number 4 sloka, it is necessary one to become very active in family life. Similarly, after retirement family life, it is necessary to control mind and senses. In the Vanapastha stage of life, tapasya or austerity is strongly recommended. Maharaja Prithu followed exactly the rules of the Vanapastha life, which is technically known as Vaikanasa Ashram. This is then sloka number 5 about in Tapovana, Maharaja Prithu sometimes ate trunks and roots of the trees. Sometimes he ate fruits and dried leaves. And for some weeks, he drank only water. Finally, lived simply by breathing air. Like you can see similar austerity taken by Dhruva Maharaj also. But only difference is Dhruva Maharaj with some intention, but Maharaj Prathu, in spite of having all such a great position as a king, and his intention is going back to the Godhead. So that's a very nice point actually. So here, then Srila Prabhupada writes such a very important point. Basically, when the Krishna consciousness was introduced, normally it's introduced in Western countries. So then this topic came, then Prabhupada very nicely mentioned, the Krishna conscious person does not need to go to the forest or artificially try to imitate Maharaja Prathu or the great sages or munis who used to live in the forest. So normally in Bhagavatam, you can see many times, everybody's going one personal life, they're going to the forest. But what is the Kali Yuga? And Srila Prabhupada can very nicely mention, anyone also can follow the footsteps of the Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur by living in a temple, which is transcendental to residence in a forest, and vow to accept Krishna Prasad, nothing else. Follow the regulated principles and chant shifting down daily Hare Krishna mantra. In this way, one's spiritual life will never be disturbed. That means by staying in the Kali Yuga also, we need not go to the forest, and we can stay in the temple. But the question comes in is so many devotees are, okay, a temple can accommodate. Then what is the solution is you make your house as a temple. So being a house as a temple and aloof from all your material activities, and you should stay continue in the Krishna conscious. Here further it writes, it's a CBN question also there. A Krishna conscious person does not need to go to the forest and artificially try to imitate Maharaj Prathu or great sages and munis who used to live in a forest. And then Maharaj Prathu further he did a lot of austerity. What is austerity and go on for it? One is austerity, the following principle of forest living and following the principles of forest living and footsteps of the great sages and munis. Maharaja Prithvi accepted 5 kinds of the eating process during the summer season, exposed himself to the torrents of rain and rainy season, and winter stood in the water up to his neck. He also used to simply lie down on the floor to sleep. This is what austerity has followed. It's something you cannot imagine actually. But I've seen this austerity when you go to the Vrindavan visit. The people put the fire around them and they sit they meditate. Normally Babajis they do this one actually. And this was one of the CBA question. What was austerity followed actually? So one is enjoyed in the sit within the circle of the fire with the flames burning from the 4 sides and sun blazing directly over it. This kind of pancha tapa is recommended for austerity. This is one of the austerity normally followed, but devotee is not recommended actually. Then sloka number, come to sloka number 7. I just try to read it out. Titikshur yataiva danta udvareta jitanilaha harirādhyanishu krishnam achara tapa uttamam. Thus, by practicing severe austerity, Maharaja Prithvi gradually became steadfast in spiritual life and completely free of all desires of fruitive activities. He also practiced breathing exercise to control his mind and senses. By such control, he became completely freed from the desire for fruitive activities. And basically, Maharaj Prithvi has gone through Ashtanga Yoga system, which is even the Vidura recommended to the Dhritarashtra actually. And you can see the Bhishma also, more or less, he has they follow. It's a similar way of system he followed while leaving his body. Here, Maharaj Prithvi underwent all these austerities in order to control his words and senses and refrain from discharging his semen and control his life air within his body. And by this, he did for the satisfaction of Krishna and no other purpose. So this is a very important point actually. So whatever you do, samsritir haritoshanam. That is a very important actually. Whatever you do in this Kali Yuga also, whatever austerity you follow, whatever vrata you keep it, whatever things you follow in your life, ultimately you should make sure that the Lord is pleased. So here the Prathama instruction going through Ashtanga Yoga is also one of the intention is to the main intention is to please the Supreme Person Lord Krishna. Here one must accept either a severe method of austerity described above to become purified, or take the process of devotion service recommended for the pleasing Supreme Lord Krishna. The person who is Krishna conscious is most intelligent because Kaliga, it is not possible to undergo such severe austerities. We need to only follow the great personality like Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this is one of the severe questions also. In Kaliga, what is the recommended? You have just to follow the what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given. Keeping yourself chanting Hare Krishna mantra, engaging yourself in Krishna conscious activities. It's only recommended in the Kaliga. That itself is enough to going back to the Godhead, because it said that Ashtanga Yoga follow that Yama, Niyama, then Asana, Pranayama, then Dharana, Dhyana, then Dharana, then the Samadhi. 8 systems we follow it. Before that I left out Pratyahara actually. After Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, then Samadhi. So all this process is already included in Krishna consciousness actually. You follow Yama and Niyama, or so many do's and don'ts, other 4 regulative principles, chanting 16 rounds, eating only Krishna Prasad, reading Srimad Bhagavatam, visiting all the holy places. And these are all the things you do. This is all nothing but Yama Niyama, part of the Yama and Niyama. Then you do the asana, you sit in the posture, and also you visit the various places. The place itself is houses as a temple. This is also nothing but a part of the asana only. And you do the pranayama. Pranayama nothing but you don't press your nose, but you chant Hare Krishna mantra, chant very nicely. So this Hare Krishna chanting mantra itself is nothing but pranayama process actually, because it has been very nicely, systematically chanted. So this is nothing but pranayama process. Then you got pratyahara. You also aloof from all the materialistic activities. You don't do so many things. You don't engage in so many activities, which is sinful activities. This is also some sort of pratyahara. Then you dharana. Dharana means you see the Paramatma in your heart. And with dhyana. Dhyana means sarvasya chaham rati sannivishtu. Chant the holy name of the Lord. You think Lord Krishna is in your heart. Think about the Lord Krishna. And you see the Paramatma in everybody's living entities. This is all part of the dhyana only. Ultimately, samadhi. Samadhi means fully engage in Krishna conscious activities. Don't see anything materialistic things. This is the part. That means whole process is there in Krishna conscious activities. So it said that just follow the personality like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So what is recommended. Then come to the Srila Prabhupada further writes, the Maharaja Pancharatra. He has mentioned Haradito yadi haris tapa tata kim. If Krishna is worshipped, if his goal of advancement, there is no need for one to execute severe type of tapasya, because one has already reached this destination. If after executing all type of tapasya, one cannot reach Krishna, all his tapasya has no value. And for without Krishna, all austerities simply wasted labor or shamayevehi kevalam. If it is not, there is famous sloka is there. Anybody would like to recall that sloka?
Is it Naishkarmyam?
Yeah.
Api achita bhava varjitam.
No, starting Dharmasya. We learned this sloka in our
Dharmasya hi apavargasya.
Eske narto arthayo pakalpate nartasya dharmaikantasya kamo labhaya hi smritaha. But you said
sorry, starting it ending in Shamayevi Kevalam.
Dharma Pumsam.
Dharma?
Yeah, Dharma Svanishthita
Pumsam Vishwaksena Katashriya Dodpaden Edira Shrama Evahi Kevalam.
Yeah, so it is nice to recall slokas. And then chapter number 10, sloka number 10 it comes. The sloka number 10, I'll try to read it out. Bhagavat dharmaneha shuddho sadho shaddaya yata sada bhaktir bhavati brahmani ananya vishaya bhavad. Maharaj Pratu, can anybody like to read the translation? Maharaj Pratu, just age.
Maharaja go ahead.
Mataji.
Please go ahead, Mata. Susevika Mata, go ahead.
Maharaja Prathu was engaged completely in devotional service, executing the rules and regulations strictly according to.
Sorry.
24 hours daily. Thus, his love and devotion unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, developed and became unflinching and fixed.
Yeah. So then
Although,
yeah, I'll read it. Yeah. Here it says that Maharaj Prabhu he was engaged in devotional service. It's very nicely engaged in devotional service. But doing also at same simultaneously doing Ashtanga Yoga, because he knows that on Ashtanga Yoga, that's why he was doing all this thing. And although Maharaj Prabhu was eternally pure devotee of the Lord, he nonetheless adopted process of devotional service in order to teach people in general proper process of executing duties of the life, and ultimately returning home, return back to the Godhead. And coming back to sloka number 11, I try to read it also. Tasyanaya bhagavata parikrama shuddha sattvatma manasu tad anusamsmaranu anuputya jnanam viraktimad ahum nishchita yena cheched samshaya padam nija jiva kosham. By regularly discharging devotion service, Maharaja Prabhu became transcendental in his mind and could therefore constantly think of lotus feet of the Lord. Because of this, he became completely detached and attained perfect knowledge by which he could transcend all doubts. And he was freed from the clutches of the false ego and the material conception of the life. So these are the things, he was able to do it. And it's an important point in he was able to free from the false ego and material conception of the life. So unless and until these two things are there, you cannot concentrate on, you cannot think about living this material world. So Patmaraj was very perfectly done this process. And in the Narada Pancharatra, again, devotion with the Lord is actually these two example, it comes in as an analogy. Here, the devotion with the Lord is likened to the queen. When the queen gives an audience, many maid servants follow. The maid servants of devotion service are material opulence, liberation, and mystic powers. So these analogies, if you follow the devotion service, everything will follow you. You not follow running behind all these things, and they'll running behind you actually. I'd like to request one more devotee to read this Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's one more analogy about the same devotion service.
Hare Krishna. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives the following example. If one has strong digestive power, after eating, he automatically lights a fire within his stomach to digest everything and does not need to take medicine to aid his digestion. Similarly, The fire of devotional service is so strong that a devotee does not need to act separately to attain perfect knowledge or detachment from material attractions.
Very wonderful analogy. It's very self-explanatory. And you go further. Here, although Pratu Maharaj was eternally pure to the Lord, he nonetheless adopted a process of devotional service in order to teach the people in general proper process of executing duties of the life and ultimately returning, going back to the Godhead. So this was one of the CBA questions is asked. And again, further it said that yogic process practiced by Maharaj, Pratu Maharaj at the time of death accelerates the giving of this body while one is sound health physically and mentally. So this is a Srila Prabhupada's purport he writes in. That means all the devotees, they should ready to leave the body in the sound health physically and mentally. Every devotee desired to give the body while it is sound physically and mentally. This desire was also expressed by the King Kulashekara in his Mukunda Mala Sutra. So this is a wonderful prayer actually. Mukunda Mala Sutra, King Kulashekara expressed, when you want to leave the body. You want to be healthy and healthy, that time you leave your body. By remembering how you can see the best example, Kattonga Maharaj. You could have asked any blessing from Devatas, extend his lifetime also, but he did not ask that time. He just asked how long I live, immediately left everything and went for immediately meditation on the Lord. So I request some of the devotees, any of the devotees, chant this mantra. It's a wonderful sloka actually. It's a very famous sloka also.
Hare Krishna. I will try. Okay, Mata, go ahead, please.
No, Prabhuji, go ahead.
Krishna Tvadiya Pada Pankaja Panjarantam Adyaiva me Vishatumana Saraja Hamsa Prana Payana Samaye Kapavata Pittai Kantavarodhana Vidau Smaranam Kutaste. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Can you explain the meaning of Prabhu?
I will read this now.
No,
Yeah, so it is said that when we become old, that time it will be only that kapha vata pitta that will be giving us more of a trouble. And when we are fit and healthy, that time we can perform the devotional service.
but he did not explain the analogy. There's an analogy that's very nice.
Haribol, you are asking me to read that or something?
Yeah, there is analogy there, na?
I don't remember that. Sorry.
Yeah, it is a mention. Anyone would like to tell what is the analogy mentioned here?
Prabhuji,
Oh, sorry, Mataji. Go ahead.
Yes, Mataji, please go ahead.
please go ahead, Pratama Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, I'll try, Prabhu. So, Krishna's lotus feet is compared to a lotus flower with the stem. And Maharaj Kulashekar is comparing him like a Hamsa, Raja Hamsa. And my mind is like a Raja Hamsa. And I should enter into that stem of your lotus feet and then leave my body. Before I am troubled, because at the time of death, we'll be all troubled with kapha vata pitta. So before that, when my kantha will be avarodha with all the three problems of my body, and I will not be able to remember you. So take my life right now, and so that my mind, like a Raja Hamsa, can enter into the stem of your lotus feet.
Very nicely. Hamsa got an habit. It is always to stick on to the stem of the lotus flower. So like that, my mind also always constantly stick on to your lotus feet. This is what is mentioned actually. So here, the further you'll see. Now here the Maharaj Parichet, King Prathu. The King Prathu, he was so much how you left his body. The whole process has been mentioned. It is called, the Kundalini Chakra. And you follow it, all these chakra systems. So here it said that in starting with the aim of particular system of asana, known as sitting posture of liberation, is called Mukta Asana. This particular asana is called Mukta Asana. To attain the success, Kundalini Chakra. There are 6 chakra system is there. Certain people they strictly follow the system actually. There's so many people are there in the system. and Kundalini chakra, and gradually rise the life from the Mooladhara chakra to the Swadhisthana chakra. That Mooladhara chakra is a below one, no? And immediately next one is Swadhisthana chakra. Then the Manipura chakra. Then further it further goes up near the stomach level, Manipura chakra. Then Anahata chakra. Then you go further in the chest level it comes. Then Vishuddha chakra. Then again it comes to almost in a throat level. Then finally it goes to Ajna chakra. That is the head of your head. It will go. Then Yogi reaches the Ajna chakra. Then between these two eyebrows, he is able to penetrate the Brahma Randhra and the hole in the skull and go to the planet he desires, up to the spiritual kingdom of the Vaikuntha and Krishna Loka. And Prabhupada explained everything very nicely in his purport. But then at the end he write very nice comment. It's because he is very careful, because these are the things happened in that Satya Yuga and some other yugas. And Prabhupada very rightly, he always connected to the very practical and immediately connect to the Kali Yuga system. He says, devotee need not feel sorry for not having practiced Kundalini chakra, not penetrating the 6 chakras, and one after another. It's very nicely mentioned. That means immediately you are relaxing. Like when you're reading, you have to go through all this process about. He said, no, devotee need not worry about all this system. And what is the devotee has to worry about? They say, devotee worry about only one chakra. That is Sudarshan chakra, he writes. That Sudarshan chakra. I've given the example of, how the Durvasa running, Sudarshan chakra running behind the Durvasa. That means you have to be very careful about doing any Vaishnava Parada. You have to careful about that chakra, not about the other Kundalini chakra, all these things. Here it mentioned that as far as Maharaj Prabhu was concerned, he had already practiced this process. Since he did not want to wait for the time when his death would occur naturally, he took advantage of the Sat chakra penetration process and thus gave body according to his own free will and immediately entered the spiritual sky. See, this is the advantage of all the great personalities. Since they know the certain system, they followed it, and they did not wait, person you become old and bedridden and all these things. They just use the chakra position and left in their body. But again, further mentioned, in the absence of the variety of the enjoyment, the spirit soul gradually feels an attraction to enjoy the life of bliss. Not having any information of the Krishna Loka or Vaikuntha Loka, he naturally falls down to the material activities in order to enjoy material varieties. So there is one more severe question related to the same thing. And you further go down. Now, what Maharaj did? What he did, he merges all the material element. So when we must learn this process in that chapter number 2 in the canto number 2. Our Priyatma Prabhu has taken this class actually. I copied the picture in that our wife Subodhini book. It said that in whole Ashtanga process has been mentioned and how the body goes, living one by one by starting the Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara. This is what exactly Pratamara did. Then again Pratyahara, again further some diversion is there. But Pratamara, what he did after Pratyahara, he further went down. He went to the Dharana, then Dhyana, then Samadhi. Then he reached the stage of Brahman realization. So here, Srila Prabhupada, many places in purport he mentioned, the important sloka of 14.26 in Bhagavad Gita. And he taken the shelter of at least 2-3 purport he mentioned, repeated same sloka, 14.26. Anyone would like to recall this sloka, 14.26? It was there, one of the compulsory slokas in our Bhakti Shastri actually.
Hare Krishna. Mam chayo vyabhichareణ bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatitaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate.
Very nice one. Can you please
yes,
briefly tell
those
exactly
who are engaged in devotional service, they cross over the material modes and attain the Brahma Bhuta platform.
So exactly you have come to the Brahman realization. So this is a particular slogan. It's first time is same slogan is repeated quite often in a very short period of time. Actually, this then once you reach the Brahman realization, then what that all the set chakra yoga system starts. Then the whole liberation process starts. Then you must have in the second chapter of second canto. Then you enter the Vaishvanara Loka. Then after that Shishumara Loka. And so we learned all this Loka in our recently our Bhagavatam cosmology. And he entered the Mara Loka, then Brahma Loka. Then there's a covering is there, universal covering is there. And he leaves one covering. First he leaves the earthly covering, then watery, then fiery, then airy, and ethery. Then ultimately penetrates into the false ego, removes the false ego, then he goes out of the Matattva, then ultimately to Pradhan, then ultimately the whole process goes. But the thing is that there is a very interesting point which I come across actually. Like when the creation takes place, creation phase, there is a system of account costing. We got a system of FIFO and LIFO system. FIFO means first in, first out, and LIFO means last in, first out, like that. In that, what happens, here the process is the LIFO system actually. That means last what will come, that will go out first. There's a whole process have been followed. That system has been followed. Like in the creation, it's starting with the pradhan. Starting pradhan, Matattva, then false ego created. Then the tanmatras have been created. The senses have been created in different combination of the tamogun and all these things. The whole process has been carried forward. Then this is what exactly in the creation takes place. But when leaving the body, the reverse process takes place actually. For example, when you are packing your bag, that whatever goes inside the bag first, that will, and whatever goes in the bag last, whatever goes last, that will come out first. The same process has been followed when leaving the body also. So this sort of Prathama is very nicely followed actually. I briefly explained through this particular chart. And now comes a very important point actually. So here it is, every devotee desires to give the body while it is sound and physical and mentally. So then I come across a very nice pastime of Srila Prabhupada. Anyone would like to read this pastime?
Hare Krishna. Every devotee desires to give up the body while it is sound physically and mentally. Grihastha, then Abhay, the bombs are dropping. Come underground. Prabhupada smiled. He said, I am cooking puris for Krishna. He was not afraid. He was not disturbed. He said, if Krishna wants to come in the form of these bombs, I will have nice prasad for him.
Very nice.
The unalloyed devotees.
Yeah, continue.
The unalloyed devotees of the Supreme Lord who are totally surrendered souls do not care when they leave their bodies or by what method. They leave everything in Krishna's hand and so easily and happily return to Godhead.
So this is the mood of the devotees. That's why I told in beginning itself. The chapter is a very nice chapter. I don't have much realization. So that's why I'm just giving things as it is. So here Prathama Raj, by the grace of Krishna, could understand that the end of his life was near, and thus he became very jubilant. And very body is very jubilant, is very important. He was very jubilant and proceeded to completely give his body on Brahma Bhuta stage by practicing yoga process. And topic of now there's a after understanding all these chapters, how this shows. Now let us have one small discussion topic actually. So this is based on this below next chapter actually. So now you can see there are two devotees, and one everybody knows that Maharaj is Holiness Kadamba Swami Kananam Swami Maharaj, and another one is, anyone like to identify?
Stoka Krishna Prabhu.
Yeah, Stoka Krishna Prabhu, and see his smile, such a wonderful smile, and it's really admirable. It's really admirable actually. So here we have seen the devotees, whose bodies were the total end, suffering miserable diseases, cancer was in every part of his body, but he was smiling, blissful and so happy to see the deities because his mind was happy and he was happy. This what actually this photo is taken just one day before his leaving body actually, and I'm sure everybody knows these stories. And before that, now, and would like to tell very shortly what exactly the Stoka Krishna Prabhu story, just 2-3 sentences.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I'll try to glorify him. This devotee was staying in Meera Road, and he was serving in the Brahmachari ashram for many years. Then later he got married, and after he got married, he came to know that he had a cancer, but still he was completely dedicated to the service of Guru and Vaishnavas, always grateful for all the services. And when his wife was pregnant, actually, even before the child was born, he was admitted in his last stage. And his desire was to leave his body in Radha Gopinath temple, ISKCON Chowpatty. So since he had served in the ashram for many years, he was a personal servant of His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. And even on his deathbed, his consciousness was how I can serve the devotees. Because when he was in the ashram, he used to ask the brahmacharis if somebody had to stitch some button or something, some stitching had to be done. So he was the one who would help all the brahmacharis to do that. So even on his deathbed, when Gaurang Prabhu came to meet him, one of his buttons, kurta buttons, was broken. And Stoka Krishna Prabhu, even though he could not talk, he is pointing out to Gaurang Prabhu like this, that I want to stitch for you. So that was his consciousness even at that time on the deathbed. He wanted to serve others. And when Guru Maharaj would come and talk to him every day, he would say that now whatever has happened is gone. Now you concentrate on what is going to happen and where you're going to go. And he was always blissful. In fact, I personally, when I went to meet him, he was so blissful that I was inspired to read for him. And he was listening to Bhagavatam very, very attentively. And he was asking questions. So this is how his consciousness was. And even at the last stage, when he was taken to Radha Gopinath temple, he was in one of the rooms there, and every day he would be taken on a stretcher to take darshan of the deities. And amazingly, at the time of his departure, Vrindavan Brajvasis came to meet him with the garlands of Radha Sham Sundar from Vrindavan temple, and they chanted Vrindavan bhajans, Braj songs, and he was completely in the mood of serving the Vaishnavas. All the brahmacharis, Guru Maharaj, they were in his room, and it was Advaitacharya's appearance day that day, and he left his body in the complete state of gratefulness, gratitude, and he was always smiling. Even when he left his body, there was not a tinge of moroseness or any complaining attitude in his life. And even though his wife was pregnant, it was so difficult for her to take it, but he was very, very surrendered to the Lord, and he said that my Lord will take care of her, so I do not worry. So that was the kind of detachment he had shown. And later on, Guru Maharaj told that it was not because he left at that time that he was able to be Krishna conscious. Throughout his life, whatever he had done, he was very grateful for what he had received, and that was the effect that he got, and Krishna reciprocated with his gratitude. So we're thankful to you, Prabhu, for giving this opportunity to glorify dear God brother. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mata. In fact, I have to be thankful for you for giving more insight on this whole incident. I was not aware of many things. And in fact, when you meditate all these incidents, then I thought, let me have one topic to discussion actually. So, like, recently the Maharaj just left his body, Kadam Swami Maharaj. He's also decided not to be in the ventilator and all these things. And he said, let me leave my body among the devotees by chanting holy name of the Lord. And he has gone such a great strength. He got it because of he has perfectly followed the Krishna conscious activities. The whole strength comes, because of this assurance, we are safe under the Krishna's guidance. Like, in the circus, when the people are jumping one place to another in the sky, they got a lot of courage. All the courage comes because there's a net is there behind. The net is there behind. They know very well, if I fall, nothing will happen to me. Same way, when you come to Krishna conscious also, the Krishna's protection is there. That is a mood everybody should come to. That level one should reach. Now, topic of the discussion, I want a quick discussion on this topic, quickly with everybody's help. And are we ready to face, that death, like, how the holiness Kadam Swami Maharaj gone through, also Krishna Prabhu gone through. If not, what are things are holding us back, and how to get cut the knot of attachment to leave the body? Some quick inputs. Are you ready to do that or not? Of course, I am not at all in that position, but I just like to get some input from you actually, to encouragement from you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu.
Actually, it is only an association of the devotees, Prabhuji. When we have the association like this, definitely at the last moment we can have. Of course, we cannot compare ourselves to Kadamba Karan Swami Maharaj, but yes, by chanting and with the association of the devotees, we can have such kind of departure, like Radhanath Swami Maharaj is giving association to his devotee and his disciple. So definitely. But our desire and association is the most important thing. Right, Krishna.
Yeah, that's right. But the thing is that there's no guarantee that, we also get the same similar type of association. Or Maharaj may not be there when you leave your body. Or he may be in somewhere, some corner of the Maharashtra. Then how to handle that situation? Is the question too tough? Let me ask Susevika Mataji. She got 2 children. They're not married also. But let me ask her what is her input.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Yes, Prabhuji, it's a very tough question. We are so conditioned, so attached. Think about children next year going to India. Not living the is really tough, but then yes, we are all practicing at least when we that attachment. Give up. Though we are reading every day, we hear from everyone that this is temporary. But then when the time comes, it is really difficult. So the best thing is we should keep practicing. Once definitely we will. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
So thank you, Mataji, for your open-hearted construction. And Subhangi Mataji, like to add some points.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, pranams. As Mataji said, are we ready to face death? Sometimes we feel, yes, we are ready because we are reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, we know. So I'm ready, but I do not know in what condition it will be, whether it will be painful, whether it will be normal, we do not know. So I don't know really how I will react during that time, Prabhuji. But I know that Krishna will protect me, Krishna will save me, I will have devotees around me, and I will be in good consciousness because always there is blessings of devotees in my life, at least I can say. There is blessings of devotees from at all times, I can say. Whenever I'm sick or whenever I'm not well or whenever I'm depressed, I have seen that there are always support from devotees. So I have trust in Krishna, I have faith in Krishna. But what is holding me back? Family attachment, Prabhuji. Family attachment is one major drawback for me. I think that I am protecting them, I am taking care of them, even though I theoretically know that it is not me, but still I'm not able to leave that. Me, that sense is always there, and I definitely want to come out of it, but I'm not able to. So how to get cut? It is only through association of devotees and reading scriptures, having faith in Krishna, performing devotional service. This is what I think, Prabhuji, my opinion.
I'm also in your same boat like you only. I'm not in a different boat. So of course, it's a very difficult time. So let me take the conclusion from the Sachi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, pranams Prabhuji. Thanks for this thought-provoking question. I would say only devotee association will help us. So we should not take the association of devotees very lightly because they are the ones who are going to be with us at the time of our need. So be with them. They are the one who are going to help you cross over. That is my understanding.
Yes, that's all right. It's very, very nice actually. In fact, the only solution is, what is given in us Guru Sadhu Shastra. You have to stick on to that principles and you should never deviate that goal actually. Then everything will go smoothly. The ultimate end of the day, it's Krishna's hands, nothing in our hand. Yeah. Let us go further. So yes, talk number 18. Can you like to read this one?
Prithu Maharaja then offered the total designation of the living entity unto the supreme controller of illusory energy, being released from all the designations by which the living entity became entrapped. He became free by knowledge and renunciation and by the spiritual force of his devotional service. In this way, being situated in his original constitutional position of Krishna consciousness, he gave up this body as a Prabhu or controller of the senses.
Hare Krishna. So we call everybody as Prabhu. Now today, when I'm reading this one, suddenly, I feel, it's a guilty consciousness. Why guilty consciousness? Because the definition of Prabhu is given different here actually. So normally, Prabhu means something, Lord like that. Is something senior, something, is like, protector like that. But here it says when Maharaj Prabhu became spiritually powerful by enhancement of spiritual knowledge, jnana, and renouncing material desires, he became a Prabhu, okay, or master of his senses. It's also called Goswami or Swami. This means he is no longer controlled by the influence of the material energy. When one is strong enough to give up influence of the material energy, he is called Prabhu. That means he got new definition of Prabhu actually. That was the question of the CBA question actually. And now there is a 2 points which Shilpa very nicely mentioned in this point actually, in this while Prabhupada was mentioning the purport. One is a Sarupastha. Sarupastha means the complete liberation. It is said that 2.10 point Hitvayata Rupam Sarupena Vyavastitaha. When the living entity abandons the activities of the Maya and attain the position from which he can execute devotion service, this state is called Sarupa. That means we always say, Jivera Sarupa Nityera Krishna Das. So one is given 2 definitions. One is Sarupastha, another one is Sarupopa Labdhi. Sarupopa Labdhi means by cutting devotional service, by culturing devotional service, the devotee gradually seems to understand is the actual relationship with the Supreme Person Godhead. And this understanding is one of the pure spiritual position is called Sarupopa Labdhi. And when one attains that stage, you can understand how he is related to Supreme Person of Godhead as a servant of the servant or friend, or as a parent or conjugal lover. Normally the devotee asks the question. Everybody asks this question. What is my position when I reach a Golok Dham like that? So this is the answer is here actually. That means you have to cultivate culturing devotional service. The devotee gradually comes to understand his actual relationship with the Supreme Person of Godhead. Lord will reveal depending on your Yeta Mam Prapadyanti. So that condition will come soon actually. Then further is mentioned. Now one section is finished. But now there is wife. That means Patma has already gone back to the Godhead. Same time, what happened immediately after the situation is the slogan of 19 says that is the queen, the wife of the Puthu Maharaj, whose name was Archi, followed her husband into the forest. Since she was a queen, her body was very delicate. Although she did not deserve to live on the forest, she voluntarily touched her lotus feet to the ground. She was, such a nice lady and such a chaste lady, and she's a personification of the chaste lady. And she has just followed her husband. Now we see there are so many chaste ladies in our system. Like Dhritra, Prabhupada mentioned one is Sita Mata. Give an example. Ramnam is coming very soon. So Sita Mata also she followed. She's such a delicate lady, but still she followed Lord Ramchandra. And we saw in 3rd chapter how the Devati followed Kardamamani. Then like in Gandhari, she was one of the chaste lady. Even though she's a queen of such a great king, but still, she covered her eyes, and as a result, the chastity has been glorified here. She mentioned all the queens. Then Queen Archi followed her husband in the regulated principle of living forest like a great sages. She laid on the ground and ate only the fruits, flowers, leaves, because she was not fit for the activities. She became pale and thin. Yet because the pleasure she derived in serving her husband, she did not feel any difficulties. So this is something, Param Drashtana Nivartante. That's what she get a lot of pleasure in that serving her husband. Then the Shilpa writes very lot of points actually. So one of the points is, the husband should be very good Vaishnava, and wife she has to serve her husband, nothing else, not more than that. That is more than enough. In fact, one of the pastimes when it is mentioned that one Mataji, she came and asked Srila Prabhupada, I want to serve your mission, very nicely. But Srila Prabhupada said, no need. You just take care of your baby and serve your husband like that. The husband already is working in the very temple 24 hours. So this is what he is given instruction. Srila Prabhupada was given instructions, Mataji. And in fact, I'd like to add one more nice fast times, how the wife will get perfection. And then I'll tell later on. Before that, let me finish this one. Here, when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sannyasa, took sannyasa, his wife, the Vishnu Priya Devi, all the very 16-year-old, also took the vow of austerity due to her husband leaving home. She chanted her beads. After finishing one round, she collected 1 grain of the rice. 1 grain. In this way, as many rounds she chanted, she would receive the same number of rice grain, then cook them and took as prasadam. This is something unimaginable for present situation. And then what happened further? Then 22 slokas says the queen executed necessary funerary functions and offered oblation to water. And after bathing the river, she offered obeisances to various demigods and situated in the sky in a different planetary system. Then she circumambulated the fire. After thinking the lotus feet of her husband, she entered flame. That means she did the Sagamana. The word Sagamana system was followed in those days. But she probably immediately corrects. In the present Kali Yuga, it is not allowed because husband is not such a high elevated soul, and wife also not chaste also that much. And here the further is mentioned, the wife of the demigods offered prayers. Like 23 to 20 sloka talks about all the demigods. When they see this whole situation, Pratimadi left, and Archie, she created fire and left her body. She cremated her husband also, and how she left her body. Then they started praising her. Normally the demigods, they are taking very high positions, and they see whole situation, what's happened in the ground, and they ultimately they praise her so much. And many thousands of the wives of the demigods, along with their husbands, offered the prayers to the queen, and they are very much satisfied. At that time, the demigods are situated in the top of the Mandara hill. All their wives began to shower flower on the funeral fire. All the glories of the two Queen Archie. We can see the question of the great, we can see the queen of the great King Prathu, the emperor of the king of the world, who has served her husband with mind, speech, and bodily, exactly goddess of fortune, serves the supreme person Godhead, Yajin or Vishnu. This is what Bhagavatam says. So like how Lakshmi Devi served, she is none less than the Lakshmi Devi. According to the Vedic scripture, the woman who dies with her husband to enter the fire, which her husband is burning, also enters the same planet as the husband attains. That means the wife, by just following the husbands, that means she can get the same place. So like that, there's a nice story. First time I wanted to just tell quickly. And that means many times in what happens in husband is serving whole Supreme Lord very nicely. But since wife is serving husband very nicely as a chaste wife, and she is more blessed than the husband itself. Nice stories comes in that Jayadev Goswami story comes. And he was writing what is that? Gita Govinda. Then in the process, there's some incidents comes, where the Krishna wanted to put the dust of the Radharani as on his head. He wanted to keep it as a crown in his head. So Jayadev Goswami is feeling uncomfortable to write that, how can, Supreme Lord can keep Radharani's dust on his head, and you want to keep it as a crown in his face. And he was feeling uncomfortable actually, not finding the proper word. He said, maybe many people can misunderstand this whole incident. That angle, he was feeling uncomfortable. And he said to his wife, I'll go to the river, I take the bath and come back. And he left his place. And immediately after some time, Jayadev Goswami returned back. He returned back and he said, I remember what I have to write. He went to the room and wrote the full chapter, what he wanted to write. Then he told his wife, can you give some of the prasadam? And his wife's name is Padmavati. And she saw the prasadam to the Jayadev Goswami. And Jayadev Goswami had then a nice add prasadam. And then he left his place. After he left his place, the real Jayadev Goswami comes actually. And he entered his house. That time the system is, in the olden days, the wife used to eat the food from the same plate of husband ate. Nowadays, nobody follows. But she used to do that one. The moment she saw that one, moment he entered, suddenly he got surprised. The wife is eating the food. Normally she eats the food only after husband eats. That was on the same plate. And he said, what happened? How come you're eating food? He said, no, she told the whole story. This incident happened. And like that. Then he suddenly went and he said, there is the book already, what he wanted to write is already written. And what he did, Jayadev Goswami, can any guess?
He fell at the feet of his wife.
Yeah, very nice. So immediately he fell on feet of his wife. Like that, this sort of incidents, you have told you're so fortunate just by serving your husband so nicely. You got the Supreme Lord came to your house and you're able to have the darshan and you're able to eat the remnants of the Supreme Lord. and he fell on her feet. He said, "You are more glorious than me." In fact, in that particular sloka of the 19th sloka, it seems, that particular Gita Govinda, he mentioned his wife's name also. Normally, at the end, normally they write, everybody's there to write they write their names, like Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Narottama Das, they write like that. He write Jayadeva Goswami write it at the end. But that particular sloka, I have once mentioned his wife's name also. So this is a very nice pastimes I could recall actually. I like that many incidents are there, because of wife, husband is nice devotee, wife gets all the opportunities. Now, anybody could recall any pastimes quickly?
Prabhuji, it says Jayatu Padmavati Ramana. Like that it says.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
exactly.
usually it is Jayadeva.
Complete it, yeah.
So it says Jayatu Padmavati Ramana Jayadeva Kavi Bharate Banitam Iti Geetam. Like that it says.
Yeah, so it's very nice pastimes actually. And anybody like to any other example quickly? The wife get benefited in because husband is serving husband. Yeah.
Devoti Prabhu.
Devoti also got the same benefit. Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. Very nice. Yeah. In fact, there are many examples actually. Like Vidrani got the opportunity to feed the Lord Krishna. And because Vidura is a very nice devotee of the Lord Krishna. And there's a story comes in Narsimha also, in his wife got the benefit of serving Lord. And it's and one I could let me tell one
Purandar
more.
Das also, no, Prabhuji?
Yeah, exactly. Purandar Das wife also there. Yeah, because many stories have become running short of the time actually. So let me not go deep inside this one. But I'd like to tell one more story. It's happened, real story happened in Bombay itself.
Bhakta Tukaram wife also, she got the opportunity to see the Lord.
Yeah, very nice, very nice. Good. In fact, this also comes, the Dhruva Maharaj, because because of his Dhruva Maharaj become good devotee, your wife got opportunity to go to his place actually. Like, not wife, his mother, Suniti. So like that. So let me tell one more small, real instance happened in Bombay. And in that, husband is a very good devotee, serving the temple, and he is a good devotee. But wife, she's also serving her very nicely. But the only thing is she never used to chant. And she will make all the arrangements, cleaning the house and cleaning the altar and nice cooking prasadam. But she never used to offer. She used to give her husband her hand. She cook the prasadam, give it to her husband hand. And husband used to offer it. But she never used to chant. And one day so happened, after some time she fell sick and she was about to leave her body. That time, the husband could see she was chanting holy name of the Lord. By chanting Hare Krishna mantra, she left her body, it seems. And the husband got really surprised. Throughout the life, she did not do any chanting. But at the same time, because her husband is very nice devotee, serving her husband very nicely, she could chant the holy name of the Lord, she left her body. It's a real-time story, actually. So now let us go to further. Here, she'll probably very nicely mention, Can anybody like to read the Vedic civilization?
Hare Krishna. In Vedic civilization, the husband and wife were not separated by such man-made laws as divorce. We should understand the necessity for maintaining family life in human society and should thus abolish this artificial law known as divorce. The husband and wife should live in Krishna consciousness and follow in the footsteps of Lakshmi Narayana or Krishna Rukmini. In this way, peace and harmony can be possible within this world.
Continue, Matri.
A woman does not need to attain high qualifications, but if she simply follows in the footsteps of her husband, who must be a devotee, then both husband and wife attain liberation and are promoted to the Vaikuntha Lokas. This is evinced by the inconceivable activities of Maharaj Prithu and his wife. Hare Krishna.
It's a very important point, actually. Suppose the bhakti doesn't need any qualification, not only for woman, it is anybody. Doesn't need any qualification, caste, creed, and your mana, abhimana, your anything is like Prahlad Maharaj's sloka comes in, Mane, Dana, Abhimana, Rupa, Tejas, the sloka comes actually. That means you don't need anything. Bhakti can be done at any time, any circumstance. So this is a very nice pastime. But here, not only it is applied to husband and wife, it also applies to senior devotees also. But everybody has to serve the senior, like Guru Maharaj. By serving Guru Maharaj, one can get the perfection of the life. For serving any Vaishnavas, that is applicable to anybody, not exactly confined to only husband and wife. It is also applicable to all the senior Vaishnavas and Gurus and like that. Now further you see, now spoken on to 31 to 39. It is a follow Shruti actually. It's a very nice follow Shruti as mentioned. I request devotees just read quickly one by one. Yeah.
Certain to attain the very planet which Maharaj Prithu attained, Vaikuntha, If one hears of the characteristics of Prithu Maharaj, a Brahmana, he becomes perfectly qualified with Brahminical powers. Kshatriya, he becomes a king of the world, and Shudra, he becomes topmost devotee. It does not matter whether one is a man or woman. Anyone who with great respect hears this narration of Maharaj Prithu will become the parent of many children if without children, and will become the richest if without money. Hearing of the narrations of Prithu Maharaj is so auspicious that it drives away all bad luck. One can become great, increase his duration of life, gain promotion to the heavenly planets, and counteract the contaminations of this age of Kali. If a king who is desirous of attaining victory and ruling power chants the narration of Prithu Maharaj 3 times before going forth on his chariot, all the subordinate kings will automatically render all kinds of taxes unto him as they rendered them unto Prithu Maharaj, simply upon his order. A pure devotee who is executing the different process of devotional service may be situated in the transcendental position, being completely absorbed in the Krishna consciousness. But even if he, while discharging devotional service, must hear, read, and induce others to hear about the character and life of Prithu Maharaj.
This is very important. Actually. The last sentence is one must hear, read, induce others to hear about the character of Prithu Maharaj. So, how to induce others? By distributing the books. So in this connection, I'd like to tell one of the nice pastimes. His own is Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj when he went to USSR. At that time, it was very difficult to sell the books in USSR. A lot of restriction was there, but still he went there, America, and people could really identify because his color is a little bit darkish. And he wanted to go all the universities and colleges and sell the books. And it so happened that in one university event, and that particular day it was closed, and nobody was there in the university. And then he said he was very disappointed. He said, "Okay, let me do at least let me attend the washroom and come back." Then he went to the washroom, and the moment when you attend the nature course, and suddenly one more person stood behind him, side by him, and immediately he was very happy. At least one person I see him like that. Immediately started preaching. Just imagine that condition. He was preaching the about the Srila Prabhupada books, and he was so convinced. And within 2-3 minutes, when they came out from the washroom, he already sold one full book set of the Srila Prabhupada books to that person. Coincidentally, that person is supposed to be, he was a librarian, it seems. He's the head of the library. He was a librarian. He sold the full set of the books to that person. Just imagine that condition also one can sell the books while attending the nature course. And I really got surprised. And the realization is, because he had so much thorough understanding about the books. And that's why, he had so much understanding about the importance of the Prabhupada book. That's why he was able to sell the books very nicely. So unless and until he read the books, he cannot sell the books actually. So it's a very important point. Not only read it, and he should assimilate all the principles in our life. So that's why it is possible to sell the books Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj in their conditions. So that's why then there are some other important points of that. Let me go through quickly. Then what is the importance of tapasya? Like, Maharaj Prithu has gone to tapasya. There are 4 C's has been mentioned, they're related to tapasya. One is culmination. What exactly happens when you go for the austerities and tapasya, especially Kali Yuga austerities, following 4 regulatory principles of reasoning, following instructions of Srila Guru Maharaj, and chanting only the Lords and doing the seva. And one is culmination. What exactly culminate? All the previous karmas will culminate. And second one is cleaning heart will take place. Third one is controlling mind and senses is possible. And fourth one is he can cut all the material bondages. This is the result of the tapasya. Then this is something realization of this chapter actually. How gracefully Prithu Maharaj gone back to the Godhead. We'll have to finish our material responsibility as early as possible. Focus on spiritual life. So that we can ready to leave this body happily and enter the spiritual world enthusiastically. We need to follow the Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. Human life should be used for the pleasing the Lord. And in spiritual life, soul is going back to the Godhead. And this is very happy and auspicious moment. Actually, the going with spiritual, going back to Godhead, it's a very auspicious moment. This is possible only in Krishna consciousness. So, in the conclusion is, so whoever with the great reverence and adoration regularly reads and chants that describes the history of the Maharaj Prithu activities will certainly increase the unflinching faith and attraction for the lotus feet of the Lord. The Lord's lotus feet are boat by which one can cross the ocean of the nescience. Gautam Maharaj ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Just 1 minute, there's a small video there, but I won't put it. But before that, I have to enable that sound sharing. Just hold on, please. Yeah, because it is an auspicious moment. I thought, let me hear one video.
Dear Murari, we are here at the feet of Govardhan, and that is very fortunate because all the dust is coming our way. The holy name is resounding in all directions. The Vaishnavas are here carrying blessings. The sadham is on the way. We did the baiting of Giriraj, we did Go Puja. In short, all the ingredients for an auspicious day is there, and if there are many auspicious days, then there will be an auspicious life. And Krishna consciousness is so simple. One auspicious day after another auspicious day, and in the end, you got a super auspicious life. So, dear Murari Gupta, that's what I wish to you, a very auspicious life, filled with auspicious days, with auspicious people, and auspicious events, and lots of auspicious kirtan, and very delicious, auspicious prasad.
Hare Krishna. So this is a very nice video actually I found out, and you would like to listen again? It is clear. It was.
Yes, clear, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Now one small quiz actually. So you listen again one more time. It's only 2 minutes, and count the number. How many times from Maharaj says auspicious?
Dear Murari, we are here at the feet of Govardhan, and that is very fortunate because all the dust is coming our way. The holy name is resounding in all directions. The Vaishnavas are here carrying blessings. The sadham is on the way. We did the baiting of Giriraj, we did Go Puja. In short, all the ingredients for an auspicious day is there, and if there are many auspicious days, then there will be an auspicious life. And Krishna consciousness is so simple. One auspicious day after another auspicious day, and in the end, you got a super auspicious life. So, dear Murari Gupta, that's what I wish to you, a very auspicious life, filled with auspicious days, with auspicious people, and auspicious events, and lots of auspicious kirtan, and very delicious, auspicious prasad.
How many times?
11
12
times.
times.
12
12
times.
12 times.
13.
11 times.
11.
12.
Lot of competition. It is very nice, actually. Very nice. I mean, share it again. You can listen again, and we can count it properly. So, thank you very much for giving this opportunity. Actually, I want to tell more, but I have to continue one more chapter. It's very short, actually. So, anybody, it's actually, I did try to do my best, but I don't know how far I reach you. It is very difficult to. I don't have a proper realization about the whole topic, actually. There is only one constraint I face. Hare Krishna. Thanks a lot. Yeah, anybody any questions? Then otherwise we'll go to the second topic.
Let's go ahead, Prabhuji.
Yeah, thank you very much, Hare Krishna. Let me take out my second. Let me continue with my hotspot only because I don't want to waste the time. My internet looks okay now.
I think Gopriya Maji has something to ask. She has raised her hand.
Yes, Mother, please. Don't
Hare
ask question.
Krishna. Thanks, Prabhuji, for wonderful session. Just had one small query. When we say that the wife is supposed to serve the husband, and when she simply follows the husband, then she can go back home, back to Godhead. Then how do we reconcile the fact that everyone has to fly their own aeroplane? So that is always a $1 million question for me. So please try to throw some light.
So you want to give $1 million to me in this? Actually, it's of course, it's everybody has whatever you have to see what context is said. So basically, everybody is to do their sadhana bhakti properly. So you cannot just expecting, my husband is doing nice chanting, let me also get the benefit. Or husband should not expect, my wife is doing, like many times it happens in the Damodar Arti. When you go there, husband now normally because only ladies crowd, husband is not there. And they said, is it busy? And he said, Mata is very confident. Hum log kar rahe, uske phal uchu mil jayega later. So in that context, Prabhupada said, you have to do your own boat. You have to own your own, everybody has to, your own do sadhana and perfect your life. In fact, if you permit me, I give one small, small joke actually, joke type, or you can see small story type also. One, there is a problem between husband and mother-in-law. Sorry, there's husband and wife were there. They're very nicely staying for 25 years, and they celebrated their anniversary. After end of the anniversary, husband was very pleasing with the wife. And at the end, the wife asked one small question to husband, his husband. We stayed for 25 years so nicely, so nicely you're staying. So just imagine one situation, myself, you and your mother, you're going in a boat, and a small river you're going, some turbulence come in river, and suddenly boatman says, somebody has to jump in the ocean so that boat will stabilize. Now, whom will drop? Me will drop, or your husband, your mother will drop? And husband coolly said, I'll drop you. She was very furious. Somebody so nicely for 25 years, how can you say like that? And he coolly answered, actually, mother cannot be replaced, but wife can be replaced. And she got much more furious. How can you say like that? And she was did not talk to him. The whole day was spoiled. Next day she went and complained to her neighbor. But exactly my husband did like that. Normally it happens. And neighbor also, she told, actually, it's not the fault of your husband. Since you don't know the swimming, that's why all the problem came up. Suppose you knew the swimming, you could have swam and come out easily. You could have saved your life easily. Both of your problem could have solved. So why it said the story? Because everybody has to do their sadhana independently. You cannot depend on anybody else. You are reading and sadhana and everything. Of course, you're supporting each other. At the end of the day, you're playing your own plane. But in case of this Archie and this one, they said, it is Archie and because the Devoti and also Kardamuni, many incidents, like that, because the husbands and wives are very exalted devotees. And wives are aware of that fact. They're exalted devotee, my duty is just serve them. So this is what my questions answered.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Can I add some points, Prabhuji?
Yes, Maharaj. Yes, Prabhuji.
Sachimata is laughing. This just to share a few points, some angles, Prabhuji, because whatever I heard from senior devotees, how to reconcile this is, yes, one point you already made it clear that in case of pure devotees, it is called like that, like Ritu Maharaj and all. So even if the wife is not doing any individual sadhana, they are utilizing their whole time in serving the husband who is a pure Bhagavata. So there is no waste of time, right? So in that way, they are flying their plane. It is by doing that, that is flying their own plane. So that is one explanation. And second is that when we talk of today's time, how it can be understood is when there is opportunity, when there is time available, there is nothing else to do, or there are no other engagement. Definitely there is time available to perform sadhana, reading, association, chanting, then it should be done. And if the husband itself is telling the wife that, oh, come, please attend the program, then it should be taken in that spirit, not that, okay, husband will do and I will get the benefit. At the same time, it is also to be understood that there has to be a balance. The things has to be done in the right time. When there is a grahastha, when there is a wife, there are responsibilities of both for husband and wife. So there are duties like cooking, cleaning, taking care of children for both sides, not only for the wife, for the husband also. So if somebody is concentrating, I'd only have to do Krishna consciousness. I will chant every day, 16 rounds, 24 rounds, and I will do everything. And then they neglect the household duties, not taking care of the children properly, then that is also not correct. So that way it has to be balanced. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Gopi Prabhuji, don't ask further questions. Let us go.
Haribol, thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Now we'll go to the next chapter actually. Let me share the this one. So now we understood in the chapter number this one, in the canto number 3, we already go to two important, no, like three. The three important events are taken place. One is the Daksha Prajapati, Dhruva Maharaj, and now we come to know this Prithu Maharaj also. Now there is a gap between, there is a fourth incident and the third incident. And now this is called chanting of song by Lord Shiva. That means further lineage of the Prithu Maharaj has been comes in this chapter actually, how we all describe. And this chapter is a very special chapter actually, and it's very special because reason is, if you see the handbook, there's no CBA question for this, but this chapter is meant for presentation. All the devotee presentation, this chapter has been kept it, and it is a very nice chapter actually. It's Lord's sung, there's chanting of a song sung by Lord Shiva. And it's a very wonderful slokas are there, but I have given to explain sloka number 1 to 32. Till the time, the Lord Shiva comes and glorify Lord Vishnu. So till the time it is there. So this is the Lord Shiva comes. You can see prachasas are there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 1 is here, 10. So 10 prachasas are here. And they will see what is exactly the details about further. So this is, you can see nice hierarchy actually, the genealogy, and the Maharaj Prathu and Queen Archie, and they're like, everybody gone through so much about. And he had 5 children. One is Vijitashwa. And then what he did, Vijitaswa is also called Antardana. Why is it called Antardana? Because he is the one person he saw the Indra stealing the horse. And because he had a special vision. When Indra was stealing the horse, nobody could see that. And only this person could see it. But he being a very kind, he did not do anything for Indra. And as a result, then Indra was pleased with him. And that's what Indra showed special mercy on him actually. Vijitaswa. Then he had what he did, he made 4 parts, whole the universe, and made 1 part he has given to the one son. Each part he given to first son, his name is Aryaksha, and second is Dhumbrakesha, third one is Vrika, and fourth one is Dravida. The 4 part he made and is distributed. And again, the Vijitaswa, he had 2 wives. First wife name is Shikandini, and second one is Nabaswati. And he had also 3 children, Pavaka, Pavamana, and Suchi. And he had Vijitaswa, second wife, her name is Nambaswati. Her son is Avirdhana. Avirdhana, his wife name is Avirdhani. So this all comes in 1 to 10 actually at Sloka. And then there is a Avirdhana also. I got 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 children actually. The first son name is Bharisad, or his also is called Pachina Bari, because he's a very great pious king. And he also, his name is called Prajapati also. His wife name is Shatadruti. And his other 2 children are Gaya, Shukla, Krishna, Satya, and Jitavrata. And this Parchina Barhi, he had 10 sons. There are Prachesas. So this is this whole lineage comes in sloka number 1 to 10 actually. So then sloka number 11 onwards he started reading further. Maharaja Bharishat, henceforth known as Parchina Bari, was ordered by the supreme demigod Brahma, marry the daughter of the ocean named Shatadruti. Her bodily features were completely beautiful and she was very young. She was decorated with the proper garments, and when she came to the marriage arena, become circumambulating the fire god Agni, became so attracted to her, he desired her company. Exactly, he had formerly desired to enjoy Sukhi. That means Agni got attracted towards her. Even though you are going to marry Pachinabari, you got attracted to her. In fact, the purpose of Srila Prabhupada writes, why the story behind that Agni, how he has got attracted to Sukhi. And Sukhi is like Saptarishi's wife. And when she also married, that time Agni got so much desire. But Agni's wife, her name is Swaha, and she acted like she came in the form of Sukhi, and then she satisfied Agni's desires. So this is what he writes, actual purport. And again he says, each and everybody attracted towards this sexual desires. And the whole material world is everybody born by because of this one. This is what he writes, Srila Prabhupada. And 12th, while Sitaduti was being married, the demons said denizens and Gandharvakas, the great sages and denizens of Siddhaloka and early planets and Nagalokas, although highly exalted, they're all captivated by the thinking of our ankle bells. By ankle bells, they have been activated. They have been, attracted. And Srila Prabhupada writes in the mainly that purport, like in ankle bells, and it's one of the the men can be easily attracted by the ankle bell sounds of the ladies. And he has given an example of how the Vishwamitra was diverted from the tapasya by just listening ankle bell sound of the Menaka. Like that, Srila Prabhupada writes all the details. And sloka number 13, the king Parchana Barishad got 10 children in the womb of Chaturvedi. All of them are equally endowed with the religiosity, and all of them were known as prachesas. So we are going to talk about the prachesas. Basically, this chapter talks about the Lord Shiva instruct the prachesas. The prachesas are 10 sons of the Prachinabari, and they are very great devotees of the Lord. And all the explanation you are going to listen. What are the glories they did? Lord Shiva's instruction. Next class we are going to listen from our Gopal Prabhuji. And 14. When all these prachesas were ordered by their father to marry the beget children, they all entered the ocean and practiced austerities and penances for 10,000 years. Then they worshiped the master of austerity, the supreme personality of Godhead. Such a, just imagine, their conditions. They did not want to take in the entered married life, but they want to do the austerity for the not in 100 years, 10,000 years. Whenever the austerity comes, that Srila Prabhupada always writes, especially when the austerity followed in other yugas. How the Dhruva Maharaj followed and how the Prithu Maharaj followed austerities. Srila Prabhupada immediately writes the comments. This is Kali Yuga austerity chanting holy name of the Lord. The holy name is so powerful. It can remove all the simple reactions. It is so grateful. Anybody can do the chanting holy name of the Lord. It nicely glorifies. And this particular sloka is given in this Srimad Bhagavatam. The purport is mentioned. And this sloka is one of the very famous sloka actually. And it also sloka comes in one of the options slokas in our body number 1 also. So can I request Sachimataji to recite this sloka?
Hare Krishna, thank you, Prabhuji. Aho patasva pachato gariyan yajyo vagre vartate namatukyam te postapaste juhushashnurarya brahmanuchurna magrananti ete.
You can read the meaning.
The translation. Even if a person is born in the family of Chandalas, the lowest birth one can get in human society, he is glorious if he chants the names of the Lord. For it is to be understood that by such chanting, a devotee definitely proves that he underwent all kinds of austerities in his previous life.
So this is just a glorification of the holy name. And Srila Prabhupada writes in the Kali Yuga, just follow the Sankirtana movement and just chant holy name of the Lord. And sloka number 15, when all the sons of Prachinabari left home to execute austerities, they met Lord Shiva, who out of great mercy instructed them of the absolute truth. All the sons of Prachinabari meditated upon the instruction, chanting and worshipping them with great care and attention. So here the instruction of basically Lord Shiva now is like spiritual master. He's appeared in front of them, and you see further further glorification of Lord Shiva in further slokas. Here Lord Shiva appears in front of them, and it's a very wonderful paragraph actually. I did not want to miss any single word of this paragraph. And very wise, very wonderful instruction also given Srila Prabhupada about everybody, about this, how the prachesas approach Lord Shiva, how the Lord Shiva given the instruction to this, they're like, platform. Our whole ISKCON institution depending on this particular chapter actually. So I request any of the devotees can please read very slowly. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. It is clear that to perform austerities or penances, or for that matter, any form of devotional service, one has to be guided by a spiritual master. Lord Shiva actually became the spiritual master of the 10 sons, and in turn, his disciples took his words so seriously that simply by meditating upon his instruction, dhyayantaha, they became perfect. This is the secret of success. After being initiated and receiving the orders of the spiritual master, the disciple should unhesitatingly think about the instructions or orders of the spiritual master and should not allow himself to be disturbed by anything else. This is also the verdict of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, who, while explaining the verse of Bhagavad Gita, beginning Vyavasayatmika Buddhir Ekeha Kurunandana, BG 241, points out that the order of the spiritual master is the life substance of the disciple. The disciple should not consider whether he is going back home, back to Godhead. His first business should be to execute the order of his spiritual master.
Yeah, it is very nicely explained. Ultimately, he says the simple living and high thinking. I remember our Bhakti Shastri teacher, is Ananta Gaur Sarup Prabhu. He mentioned definition of what is simple living and high thinking. He says that simple living and high thinking is just nothing but following instruction of spiritual masters. If you're able to do the spiritual instruction, then there's nothing but simple living and high thinking. That's what you get the definition actually. So it's in fact the 2.41. This is like foundation stone for ISKCON, a whole institution actually, because nothing but Srila Prabhupada very nicely followed that instruction given. What is Vyavasayatmika Buddhir Ekeha Kurunandana Poshaka Ayantasa. What is the parents part?
Buddhayo Avyavasai.
Yeah, that means you just to point out, just to focus on the what spiritual master said, just to follow his instruction. Don't think about anything else. Don't involve in so many other activities, and your life will be perfect. And now, sloka number 17. Now it's the glorification. Lord Shiva comes in. Lord Shiva comes glorification. The great sage Vidura continued. Oh, best of our Brahmanas, it's very difficult for living entities engaged within the material body to have personal contact with the Lord Shiva. Even the great sages who have no material attachment do not contact him. Despite their always being absorbed in the meditation to attain the personal contact. Here, Lord Shiva's glorification comes. That means Lord Shiva is not available to everybody. Even his own devotees, it's very difficult to get him. Like you can see, there's so many devotees like Vratasura. He was cutting all his bodies, to put in the fire to get the benediction from them. Like Ravana also did the same thing. Like you can see many asuras are there, try to please the Lord, but Lord is not available. So Lord Shiva is not so available to so freely for his own devotees. But here see further see, but he is available to Vaishnavas. This is what an important point actually. Here the Srila Prabhupada further writes. He writes about the Lord Shiva appeared as a Brahmana in the age of Kali to preach the Mayavadi philosophy, which is nothing but the type of Buddhist philosophy. It is about he tells about Shankaracharya and all these things he mentioned in this purport actually. Now, sloka number 24.18. Lord Shiva, the most powerful demigod, second only to Lord Vishnu, is self-sufficient. Although he has nothing to aspire for material world, for the benefit of those in the material world, he is always busily engaged everywhere and is accompanied by dangerous energies like goddess of Kali and goddess of Durga. He writes here, it is mentioned that the Lord Shiva is always accompanied with material energy. That is Shakya, Goraya. What are the material energies? The goddesses of Durga and goddesses of Kali. He is always under his control. Goddess of Kali and Durga surround him by killing all the asuras and demons. So these are the energies of the Lord Shiva, is mentioned here. Then further, Srila Prabhupada very nicely writes in the purport, basically compares, Lord Shiva Bhaktas and Vishnu Bhaktas. Thus Lord Vishnu gives intelligence to devotees so that devotee can make the progress in the path back to home, back to Godhead. Since the devotees has nothing to do with any kind of material possession, he does not come under the control of the goddesses Kali or goddesses Durga. That means the devotees are exception. Otherwise, normally everybody is under clutches of the Devi Yeshu Gunamayi, Mama Maya, Durarte. It's very difficult to come out of that clutches. But here, the Vishnu devotee is very easy to come out. This sort of Srila Prabhupada nicely mentions. Then there's a glorification comes. The further glorification comes. How the Shiva comes. What are the scenery surrounding that? As usual, Bhagavatam very nicely explain all these points. Very nicely actually. All the glorification of the surrounding places. Can I request some of the devotees to read one by one, 1920 and all this?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, 224.19. The great sage Maitreya continued, My dear Vidura, because of their pious nature, all the sons of Prachina Hill were very seriously accepted the words of the father with heart and soul, and with these words on their heads, they went toward the west to execute their father's order.
Text number 20. While traveling, the Prachetas happened to see the great reservoir of water, which seemed almost as big as the ocean. The water of this lake was so calm and quiet that it seemed like the mind of a great soul, and its inhabitants, the aquatics, appeared very peaceful and happy to be under the protection of such a watery reservoir.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Here, we already read, nothing to explain much. Here, one may argue that the devotees have desire, but they wish to go back to Godhead, but such a desire does not agitate mind. Although he wishes to go back to the Godhead, the devotee is satisfied in any condition of life. Consequently, the word Mahan Manaha is used in this verse to indicate that the desire of the water was calm and quiet as mind of the great devotees. Actually, you can see the first one, the top one. This is called Sheshanaga. Sheshanaga comes in when you go to the Amarnath. There is a Himalaya mountain is there, below there is a beautiful lake is there. And that picture I put it actually. It's a very, very beautiful sight actually to see this one. In fact, I had a opportunity to visit this place when I went to the Amarnath trip actually. And can you see further? Anybody can read 22 sloka? Sorry, 1 minute. Yeah, 22.
There are various trees and creepers on all sides of the lake, and there were mad bumblebees humming all about them. The trees appeared to be very jolly due to the sweet humming of the bumblebees, and the saffron, which was contained in the lotus flowers, was being thrown into the air. These all created such an atmosphere that it appeared as...
Yeah, sorry, because it is not got cut. I'll put it here.
As though a festival were taking place there.
Yeah.
Thank you,
You can
Mataji.
continue, Prabhuji.
Yeah, we can go ahead. Prabhuji. Finish 22.
Yeah, finish.
As
Yeah,
though,
okay.
yeah, as though a festival were taking place there. That is the sentence.
Yes, that's what, yeah. Let us go ahead further. Sorry, going backward. 1 minute. Yeah, here the slogan number 28 actually. Sorry, I missed this one. Yeah. Slogan of 24 to 25. Now here it said that in the Prachas are very fortunate to see Lord Shiva, the chief of the demigods, emerging from the water with these associates. His bodily luster was just like a molten gold. His throat was bluish and he had 3 eyes, which looked very mercifully upon his devotees. He was accompanied by the many musicians who were glorifying him. As soon as Prachas saw Lord Shiva, they immediately offered their obeisances in a great amazement and fell down on the lotus feet of the Lord. Here Lord Shiva appears himself. They did not do any tapasya, they did not do anything. But Lord Shiva is very much impressed. You know, the way the Prachas go going over 10,000 years austerities and they want to attain Supreme Lord. Because Lord Shiva himself is a Vaishnava Nam Netasham. You want to see, he always glorify Lord Shiva. He always glorify Lord Vishnu, Supreme Lord. So he himself, he was very much impressed with their Prachesa. That's why, he himself came and appeared in front of them. The Prachesa, son of the Prachinabari, were naturally very pious and gentle, and subsequently Lord Shiva was immediately pleased with them. Lord Shiva could understand the princes were sons of the Vaishnavas. As such, Lord Shiva offered prayers to the personality of Godhead as follows. Now the Lord Shiva give the instruction to the Prachesas. Here the one important point what I observed is, Lord Shiva was immediately pleased with them. That means overall devotees of Lord Shiva, Vishnus are there. Lord Shiva is very much pleased. In fact, I had my own life very nice one experience. How especially when you went to the Kailash Parvat, when you went to Kailash Yatra, that time we are in Nepal actually. Nepal, there's a hotel, there's a system is there. First they put in particular hotel, Nepalganj. Then after that there are 2 steps are there. One hill station, one hill top is there. It's called Simikot. Then you have to go to one more hill. It's called Hilsa. Then you have to go to the Patla Kot. They'll not take you directly to the top because the gap is between ground floor to main top floor, top hill. It is something like that, 16,000 feet high. So for climate acclimatization, they don't take immediately. But for us, what happened, then ours, they were like 51% batch, and we are like, we are NRIs, we are in the beginning. But what happened, they took everybody, and then there is no helicopter is not coming at all. We are stuck in the downside hotel itself, and we are 1 day finished, 2 day finished, 3 day finished, and we are all missing, we're feeling uncomfortable. What is still happening? Then we realize, the day that people left, first all the batches, people left, and only few duties left out, including myself and our along with me, Ravi Rachan Prabhu was there, and our Krapasan Prabhu was there, and other 2 duties are there. And we are in down floor, and we are worried why you are stuck down here. And of course, we are just standing name and you're doing nice devotion service. And so happened that then we realized those who got in the different hills places, you have to, for acclimatization, and they got a very bad weather, it seems. Very bad weather, and they could not move. In fact, that's the reason helicopter did not come and pick us at all. Then they suffered a lot because these places they don't have proper facility. You cannot take the bath. Only bathroom is there. Apart from that, you cannot take the bath, and you have to eat the food what they give. A lot of dusty weather and all these things. These people, they're all great Shiva bhaktas. They're doing everyday satsang and all this, but they really suffered a lot. And when our term came in, we started into the up top. But nothing has happened. Lord's mercy. And after that, did the Kailash Parikram, everything did it. When you coming back, also the same thing happened. And we come down, and there is again we got stuck in the one of the hills. And that time it is a report came in Indian newspaper also. So many yatris are stuck in because of bad weather and all these things. And no helicopter was coming because of too much wind that place. And one day we stayed one particular day, and we are nicely chanting. And all other Shiva devotees are looking at us, and they get very jealous. आप लोग हर टाइम माला घुमाते रहते हैं, आप लोग कोई टेंशन ही नहीं है, like that, because what happens is whenever your term comes, they go as per they got big list. The list number 1 to 50 they go. So our term always comes first. So other people are very jealous of us without our fault. We never not aware all these systems. And we used to go, and suddenly we got the chance, we went down, and they're very, very cursing us. And what he did, when he come to second place, down place, again we took one separate higher helicopter, and suddenly went down when we came down. And whole process, that those are Shiva bhaktas, and they really got stuck for so many days. And we just went up on single day and came down single day. And other people really got shocked, and in fact they're too much jealous. You can see a lot of enviness in their face. These people are like that. They're really criticizing us, and they're telling they're so bad. They're telling, "आप लोग माला घुमाते रहते पूरा दिन, आप लोग को टेंशन नहीं लगे." And that's not our fault. In fact, we are every time chanting it. In fact, I remember what Rudra Gita comes in. I also memorize certain slokas when I go into the Bhatam class and one of the class in Dubai. So I remember certain slokas in Rudra Gita, and we used to chant the name. And in fact, the whole Rudra Gita, what you're going to see now, up to slokas, 70 slokas, and we all recited in Kailas actually. We near the hotel room, and we do this chapter, and you nicely recited. You read the full purport, everything in there. So that's what in this chapter is something I thought, let me share my own realization, how the Shiva is pleased with the Vishnu devotees rather than his own devotees. So this is an example I thought. So let me read the further. Sloka number 27 actually. Rudra Vacham Yam Vedi Sada Putra Vidita Va Chikirtitam Anugrahaya Badram Va Etam Ve Darshanam Kritam. Lord Shiva said, "You are sons of King Pachina Barhi. I wish all the good fortune for you. I also know that you are going to do what you are going to do, and therefore I am visible to you just to show my mercy upon you." Here, nice personal application is there. This indicates the person who is not yet to be devoted to Supreme Person of Godhead, but who has resolved to serve the Supreme Lord, receives the benediction of the demigods, headed by the chief demigod Lord Shiva. Thus, the devotee of the Lord does not need to try to please the demigod separately. Simply by worshipping Supreme Lord, the devotee can please all of them. So this is a very nice point can understand. But going backward. Then this is the last page actually. now the Lord Shiva, he started. Now I shall chant the one mantra. which is not only transcendental, pure and auspicious, but it is best player for anyone who is aspiring to attain ultimate goal of life. When I chant this mantra, please hear it carefully and attentively. Now this is the Lord Shiva telling Prachetas. Then sloka number 32 further continued. The great sage Maitreya continued. Out of this causeless mercy, the exalted person of Lord Shiva, the great devotee of Lord Narayan, continued to speak to the king's sons, who were standing with the folded hands. Here, very nice purport Srila Prabhupada writes. I request some devotee to read this one.
Lord Shiva voluntarily came to bless the sons of the king as well as do something beneficial for them. He personally chanted the mantra so that the mantra would be more powerful, and he advised that the mantras be chanted by the king's sons, Rajaputras. When a mantra is chanted by a great devotee, the mantra becomes more powerful. Although the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is powerful in itself, a disciple upon initiation receives the mantra from his spiritual master. For them, the mantra is chanted by the spiritual master, it becomes more powerful. Lord Shiva advised the sons of the king to hear him attentively, for inattentive hearing is offensive.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you. Here is some we can meditate on this particular pair actually from some points. Here says when the mantra is chanted with a great devotee, mantra becomes more powerful. So I'd like to request all the devotees, what is your understanding on this sentence? When the mantra is chanted by a great devotee, the mantra becomes more powerful. I can give you some analogy Srila Prabhupada used, and some points you can tell.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I am getting a kind of medical analogy. I think when injection is put into our blood, the injection compared to tablets or any other form of medicine works very quickly and very potently. So it is also sometimes given an example that Krishna consciousness in this age of Kali through the Mahamantra is like a injection, which is subtle injection. So medication, the mantra is the medication, but the injection or the needle and the overall the injection yantra is a pure devotee. So a pure devotee carries the medicine within his heart, and when he injects to others, then only the change of heart happens. So without the pure devotee, the injection directly cannot be given. Hare Krishna.
Fantastic analogy, Prabhuji. Very nice. And Srila Prabhupada can very nice analogy on this mantra. The same topic. Anybody can recall this? That is. Regarding Hare Krishna mantra is again very famous analogy, and is compared in.
He tells like the cry of a child, no, Prabhuji.
Yeah, that is one of the examples. And it should come to proper parampara, and it should be given by Guru Maharaj. Then only the mantra.
He also, in that Mahamantra explanation, he also mentions that the milk touched by the lip of a serpent.
Exactly, yeah. That's what I was
it is possible.
Yeah, Prabhuji, just explain that point, Prabhuji.
Yeah, so even though the milk is very potent, but if it is touched by the serpent, it becomes poisonous. Similarly, if we hear from non-devotees or envious people, even though we are hearing Krishna Katha, it may have an adverse effect. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also said, Mayavadya bhashya sunile hoy sarvanas. So it is always, and it becomes more relishable and more potent when heard from the pure devotees.
Very nice. Good. Anybody, any points to add?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji pranams. Even in the previous chapter, what I have taken, milk can be given both to the sages as well as the snake. So if you give to the snake, it emits only poison. But if you give to the sages, then it will help us for liberation. So we should decide to whom we should give. So we have to hear only from authority. That is it.
Good. Thanks, Mataji. Thank you, Prabhuji, for adding wonderful points. So this is actually, because when you hear the mantra, it should come from the bona fide source. Actually. Here it's here Srila Prabhupada very nicely writes. Hare Krishna mantra itself is powerful, but disciple the disciple upon initiation receives the mantra from his spiritual master. If the mantra is chanted with spiritual master, it becomes more powerful. I am sure everybody having your own experience also. Before initiation also you chant the mantra. After initiation also you chanting Hare Krishna mantra. But difference is there in chanting. You can feel the different it become more powerful. Mantra is same, but after initiation you feel it will become more powerful, more purifying. That's what I feel. Some experience comes in everybody's life. So this is what an important point actually. And you can see these are Kailash mountain, the Lord Shiva stays. And you can the circle is on this point. You can see the face of the Lord Shiva actually. Normally you can you can see in that Kailash mountain. If you go there, you can see this one. And then top of the mountain, normally when we went that time there is ice was there, and ice formed such a way that it looked like exactly Sheshanag. Now in this picture you cannot see that, but when we could go there, that time we put this one. And this is the end of it. Hariom Tassat. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Nitya Gau Shaitanya Premananda. Thank you very much, everybody, for giving wonderful opportunity to glorify Lord Shiva and also Pratha Maharaj. And it's very nice to sit and together early morning. And I'm sure it is one of the best days of my life actually. I never forget sitting early morning, getting up, sitting for the Bhakti Vibhava Swadhyaya and Bhakti Vibhava classes. This is ultimate, best wealth in my life is a devotee session. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Prabhuji, I just felt that you missed one slide because from 27 it went to 31. Can you just check, Prabhuji?
1 minute. This 28 slide, you did not see?
No, we did not read this 28 and 30, Prabhuji.
Not read.
Good. This one I read it. This one I read, yeah. This one I read it, yeah.
This one, this we read, and then last one we read also.
Yeah, sorry. I'm extremely sorry for that. Good observation. You're like a Parishit Maharaj. Sukadeva Goswami explaining, suddenly 1 year passed, and suddenly Parishit Maharaj stopped it. What happened in that year? Why there is that Brahma Vimochan Leela? So here, like Parishit Maharaj. Thank you, Hare Krishna. So let us read the 24 to 28. Yaha param ramsaha sakshat Trayi guna jiva samnitat Bhagavatam Vasudevam Prapanna sa priyo me. Here Lord Shiva continued. Any person who is surrendered to Supreme Person of God Krishna, the control of everything, the material nature as well as the living entity, is actually very dear to me. Here Lord Shiva says, overall surrender to Supreme Person of Lord, who is very dear to me like this. I really miss the important point actually. Yes, since Vasudeva is the ultimate truth, Lord Shiva openly proclaimed one is due to the Lord Vasudeva, who is surrendered to Lord Krishna, is actually very dear to him. However, Lord Shiva himself surrendered to Vasudeva, and whoever else surrendered unto Vasudeva is very, very dear to him. This is expressed here in openly. Conclusion is that devotee of the Lord Shiva is not dear to Lord Shiva, but the devotee of Lord Krishna is very dear to Lord Shiva. This sloka says this particular point actually. Then Ata Bhagavata Yuyam Priyatasta Bhagavan Yata Samad Bhagavata Namcha Premam Anyo Hi Karichit. All the duties of the Lord, and as such, I appreciate you. You are the respectable as the Supreme Person God Himself. I know this way the devotees are also as respect me, and I am dear to them. Thus, no one can be as dear to the devotee as I am. So this is the Lord Shiva's expression actually. This really glorify the devotees, and his devotees like a representative of the Supreme Person of Godhead, and I am very dear to him. This sort of point. Yes. Thank you, Gopal Prabhuji, for correcting the missing point. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Tomorrow we'll continue the Rudra Gita. It's a very important chapter. A lot of Krishna's glorification is in the Rudra Gita. Our Gopal will be very fortunate, we'll be very fortunate to listen from our Gopal Prabhuji. Mata is find out the right person to for the right job. Hare Krishna.
Thanks, Prabhu, for the wonderful session. And also, you were very, very time conscious also. That is a very wonderful thing. Even though you had, you knew how to do and what to pick up actually, not simply dragging and going on and on. You were very much on spot, and you could manage. Time management was 100% marks for that. So thanks, Prabhu. Thanks for that, and thanks to all the devotees also for the wonderful association. Like Prabhu was saying, this is the best time of our life to read Srimad Bhagavatam in the morning hours. So this is the best. In fact, I also relation just wait for these Saturdays and Sundays. Thanks to each one of you. Hare Krishna. So if there is no further questions, we can end the session.
Yeah, we can. In fact, today be nice to see our most missing devotees, most dear to us. Another Shruti today. She's back with the cool edit, and it become very small today. And it was last time it was really bursting with a lot of material knowledges. Hare Krishna. Welcome, Nadharshi. And let's all pray for our good marks. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna.
So we may end the session, Prabhuji.
Yes, Nadharshi.
Pancha kalpatarabhyascha kripa sindhu patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namo Anantakoti Vaishnavi ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Gurudev ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Please forgive me for all the mistakes. Hare Krishna.
So,